Penguin Audio presents The Cross Gardener by Jason F. Wright. Read by Lincoln Hoppe. 1. The Orphan. I was born on the side of a 2-lane Virginia highway at 1:21 a.m. on February 1st, 1983. 16 years later on my birthday, just as he promised, Father gave me a thick manila envelope holding detailed police, paramedic, and investigative reports. Also included were transcripts from several interviews by a detective who perhaps cared more than he needed to. Most of the documents were cold and sterile. Some were revealing. My mother's name was Libby Riffey, 17 years old, a resident of Forest Pond Court in Centerville, Virginia. She'd been a ward of the Commonwealth until winning emancipation at age 16. That same day, she accepted a long-awaited invitation to move in with her best friend, Krista Abbott, and her charismatic, divorced father, Ken. The girls were inseparable. Krista taught Libby to love ballet. The two took classes that Ken happily paid for at a prestigious dance studio in Fairfax. Libby had found a mentor there, a woman who believed she could one day dance professionally. Libby was crushed when her hero was diagnosed and killed by breast cancer in just 10 months. Krista taught Libby to deal with sorrow. Libby taught Krista to stand up for herself at school. Krista taught Libby to wear makeup and flirt. Libby taught Krista how to navigate the metro system in downtown Washington, D.C. Krista's father loved both girls, but his affection for Libby was different. Just 18 months after moving in, Libby was 9 months pregnant and looking for a way out. Some suspected, but at the time only Libby and Ken knew with certainty the baby was his. Only Libby cared. At 39 weeks, she took her 1976 Ford Pinto for a Sunday evening drive. The investigators speculated that the young woman probably drove south on 29, then west on 66 past the battlefields of Manassas and the undeveloped fields of Gainesville. A light rain began to fall as she drove farther west. The report noted that drizzle had likely turned to freezing rain by the time Libby neared the end of 66 and turned south onto 81 into the Shenandoah Valley. She'd taken exit 298 in Strasburg to Route 11 and turned left, presumably looking to refuel and turn around. But long before she reached a gas station, Libby lost control, and the deteriorating road conditions sent her spinning toward the center line. She collided head-on with a semi-truck carrying leather couches and love seats from North Carolina. The accident was weather-related and attributable to unsafe speeds given the conditions, the report concluded. I used to wonder where exactly the collision occurred. Had people said a quiet prayer the next morning when they passed the skid marks and remaining shards of glass too small for the VDOT brooms? I wondered, too, what my mother saw when the bright lights blinded her. Was she reunited with the ballet instructor she must have still grieved for? Did they dance a familiar routine together? Perhaps the final seconds were pancaked into one like the hood of her white Pinto. Or did they pass slowly, like those long, uncomfortable closing moments in church when I used to watch the clock from a back pew, waiting for the closing hymn and prayer to end, awaiting all the joy and excitement that called me to the creek at the property line? Did she find herself weak and afraid, wishing she'd stayed home? Did she have time to pray? Did she think of me wriggling in her belly? Did she see the face of the horrified driver? Did she see the face of God? A signed statement said every agency within 15 miles responded. Virginia State Police, the Shenandoah Valley Rescue Squad,
Sample complete. Ready to continue?